Well, just got a call from Dee Dee to come home, and apparently our septic system is trying to back up a little bit, so doesn't want to flush the toilet and doesn't want to drain out of the shower, so got to figure out what's going on. The type of system we have for our septic is called a sand filtration system, and so there's actually a macerator pump that pumps all of the goodness uphill to a sand filter. Gonna see if it's something simple. My worry is it's a sensor, but we'll find out. So let's take a look. And it looks like breakers are all good. Nothing's popped in there. Well, the first thing I'm going to test here is we have a control system for the septic, and we got a little paint on it, but basically this tells us if the system is trying to overflow, and there's a warning buzzer that beeps. So it concerns me that didn't go off. So we're going to test first of all and make sure this system's working. So it should be going off in auto, and it's not. It does have power and is working. So when it's in auto, it should be going off. Even if it was in silent, I believe this light blinks. So gut tells me that there's a sensor issue, because this is not telling the pump to turn on. Well, I'm going to see if I can manually override this. If I connect these two terminals, we should get a signal, and that light should come on. Yep. Which means that pump should be running now. Alright, so I just got this alligator clipped for a minute. I'm going to go outside and see if I can hear that pump running. I heard some creaking, which might mean the lines are draining, but I want to go see if I can hear that pump running. I can't hear a thing over the creek, so I'm going to give it a few minutes and see if it drains out. So it just dawned on me, this might be just the signal wire that turns the light off and on, and the alarm on and off. So that might not be doing anything other than turning that light on. Well, solid light's rolling all around on the septic tank. I don't think I'm going to feel the same way though. Alright, this is coming out of the back wall. This is where the alarm and stuff is. I'm just going to pop this loose real quick, make sure there's nothing in there. Well, that's interesting. There's a lot more lines here than what I have inside, so maybe I better pop that panel off inside and see what I got in the wall there. Alright, so we don't have anything crazy here. We just have our, power lines going in, which are then connected to the extension cord there, and these two are the signal lines there. So nothing super crazy. Alright, I guess I get to go back to digging. Okay, so if I understand it right, there is our septic tank, and this would be the pumping tank, which the pump would be in. So I'm going to pull the lid, see if I can look down inside there, see where the wiring goes over and through, and see how full of yumminess it is, and what I need to do. So it's not as horrible as I was expecting. Looks like I can still access some of that stuff there. It hasn't gone up and over into it. So if you're squeamish, you might not want to finish this one though. Okay, so basically there's like a macerator style pump in here that pumps up all the goodness and forces it up in through this 2-inch pressure pipe that goes up to the sand filter. So for some reason the pump is not turning on to pump out, right? So get to figure out why that is. By the way, this actually doesn't smell all that bad. I'm sure if I was on the other side, it might be a little different. Usually there's a scum layer on there that the bacteria and stuff kind of munches stuff up. But this actually doesn't smell that bad right now. Well, I might have just turned it on. It might have just been an issue with the float in here. I grabbed a rebar stake and started messing with the float in there, see if it was maybe something like that. And I thought it kicked on. It appears to be going down. It's not very fast, so I'm gonna give it a few minutes and see if it's truly going down. Okay, it's definitely going down. I'm gonna see if that sensor inside is on. I don't know, that's weird. Kind of like a toilet bowl float. There's a little float in there that I guess probably turns that pump on. I can definitely hear water running, but it sounds more like it's trickling from the tank over there. I don't know, I was expecting more of a heavy pump to come on here. Well, I went inside and the light's still not on. I don't know, I'm puzzled here. Alright, so I got this figured out. There's two ball floats. This one right here I have pulled up. That's the Overflow Alarm. So I pulled that up and it's going off inside, signifying that it's overflowing. And then the other one way down in there is just the regular one, which should be turning on the pump. Well, I feel the pump humming when I pull up the main float there, so it is turning on, and I'm guessing it's pumping, I don't know. Yeah, it's going down. So I'm just gonna override that for a little bit, hold it up, and keep the pump going and see if we can get this drained out. So that's where that line comes over underground and comes in here. These are where wires come in into a watertight box. It's kind of got some water in the bottom of it. And I'm assuming this rope is probably for pulling up that pump because it goes down in there. So if that ever fails, then you can pull it up and out. All right, I can start to hear that pump now as it gets a little lower and there's less water on top of it. I can start to hear it run. I'll show you what the issue is, or what I think the issue is. Okay, so we have our two floats here. We have the Overflow Alarm one, which that triggers the alarm inside. And then this is the one that turns on the pump. It's kind of like the toilet flush valve, I guess. So it's got to come way up here for that pump to turn on. It seems really high. So I'm going to have to take a look and see if I can adjust that. Maybe lower it down a little bit. So it's like coming up and coming into this little pipe or whatever it is here, which I'm assuming is electrical. So I'm going to see if I can move that float valve a little further down in so it kicks on earlier. Before the whole system's full. I mean, that seems really odd to me that it would already be like up, like at capacity before the pump even kicks on. I don't know. If you know something about septic systems, which I know nothing about septic systems, let me know if that's normal or weird. That thing should be completely full before that pump turns on. It's only got, you know, it's only turning on and draining just a teeny bit out of there. The leeway on that float there. I don't know. Well, I went ahead and pulled the main septic tank. It actually doesn't smell very bad either. That crust on top, I guess, is keeping the smell down. So I'm looking into an additional issue now because stuff's still not draining out of the house. So I don't know if we got a clog in the main line or what's going on. Yeah, I'll show you. You want to see what a poo crust looks like? So there's a solids layer that rises along the top. And I'm assuming this is where the septic comes in, or where the main line comes in and feeds. But we turned on the water just to check earlier and there was almost nothing coming out. So I noticed this over here by the corner of the house. This is for if an RV or something comes. this is kind of wet along the back side, which makes me think it might be full of water. And so I'll probably have to pull that and snake a line over to that septic tank there. Alright, I got this guy, 25-foot power snake. There's a drive adapter there for a drill. I'm going to try this out. I've used the old winding ones, obviously. They got all wound up if you get into something. Where this has a shielding on it, I think it'll do well. We're going to give it a shot. Alright, looks like we made it over, so I just got to find that clog again and work it a little bit. Alright, now we're flowing. Yay! I really like that snake.
Yeah, that worked really well.
Are you excited that the poop is flowing again?
I've never been so excited to see a turd fly by.
Well, the snake worked very well. Inside that sheathing, it didn't get all bound up. One thing, obviously, that is going to be a pain in the butt with it. So I'm going to have to make sure I get the hose and clean it out, because obviously there's a hollow tube that was just inside a bunch of septic matter. So I'm going to make sure that gets hosed out really well before it gets put away. Alrighty, well, what I thought was a issue with the pump was a clogged mainline. So I'm glad we were able to figure out what's going on and get it taken care of. Everything's flowing smoothly. I guess if you live in the city and you flush the toilet, then you never know where it goes. It just goes away. But a lot of places have septic tanks. If you live rurally, you have a septic tank. That's a fact of life. You normally never think about it, just like if you lived in the city and flush the toilet, but every once in a while, if you have an issue, you gotta fix it or call a plumber. So I'm glad I was able to figure out what's going on and not have to call anybody, just get it taken care of. So I am way super excited about that, and I learned a lot about septic systems today that I didn't know before because I'd never been in one before. Anyhow, thanks for coming along, guys. Appreciate it. We'll catch you on the next one.